Good Monday morning. Good Monday morning. Welcome to the Millionaire Mindset Book Club, 10x Rule by Grant Cardone. How did your first week of 2024 go? Was it good? Does it lead you to believe that the rest of 2024 is going to be good? Absolutely. Every day, every Monday is a new beginning, right? Every day is a new beginning. So we're on chapter 5. There is no shortage of success. A lot of times people think, if somebody wins, that means somebody else has to lose, right? And that's not the truth. There's only so much money to go around, right? I mean, if I have all the money, then that means there's none left for you, right? If I take all the listings, there's none left for you, right? The truth is that that's the way, a lot of times that's the way people look at success. They look at success as a scarcity, right? That there's only, that there's a finite amount of success. That if somebody else is successful, then that means somebody else has to lose. They somehow inhibit their ability to create success. And the reality is success it's not a lottery. It's not a bingo. It's not a one person takes a winner takes all kind of deal. There's plenty of success to go around. If you look at the real estate industry, there's plenty of business to go around, right? You just gotta get out there and grab it, right? There's never going to be a limit on how many people can be successful or who can be successful. It's because there are no limits in terms of ideas or creativity, ingenuity, talent, intelligence, originality, persistence, or determination, right? Success is something that is created. It's created. It's not something that you go out and get. It's something that you go out and make, right? You think about things like resources, gold, silver. Those are things that already exist and you have to find, right? But success is something that you make, right? Or not, right? Success is something that you make. And Grant Cardone talks about how politics and the media perpetuate these shortage concepts, right? That if they suggest that there's not enough of something, if there's not enough of something to go around, then that means that if you have it, I can't. And he talks about politicians specifically spread this myth in order to energize their followers to take a stand for or against another politician or party. You think about how polarized we are in the political arena, right? That if you don't do it my way, right? If you don't do it the Republicans' way or the Democrats' way, then the other side wins and nobody else gets anything, right? Politicians, he says, make statements like, I'm going to take better care of you than the other guy. I'm going to make life easier for you. I'm going to reduce your taxes. I'm going to promise you better education. And the underlying implication of all of these claims is that I'm the only one that can do this for you. The other guy can't do it for you, right? And they create this sense that the citizens aren't capable of doing it for themselves, right? That you get this idea that if somebody's in power, that it's only gonna it's only gonna go this way. Politicians and leaders in any organization or whatever, they only get away with what we allow them to get away with, right? If we're willing to stand up and fight. I'm thinking of a specific situation here, and I'm not going to bring it up, but people they feel like that as long as we have this scarcity, right? As long as we have this scarcity, um, then the other side is going to do their best to make people feel like the only chance of getting what they want is to support me, right? So uh, if taxes are too high, and if taxes are high, and I'm telling you that you got to vote for me to get the taxes lowered, is that necessarily the truth, right? We can. Um, I'm trying to get with this whole. I'm trying to really get away from this whole Republican Democrat thing, but um, the in society today we have become so polarized that if you support this, if you say I'm a Republican, then um, then the other side says that that you are the devil, and vice versa, right? And vice versa. Um, that if my political beliefs win, yours have to lose. It doesn't have to be that way, right? Um, we can disagree, right? And people have a hard time with that. They have a hard time with that, where we can agree to disagree thing. You're either right or you're wrong. There's no middle ground today, right? People talk about competition as if it's a bad thing, right? The notion of competition suggests that if one person wins, that somebody loses. And if you're playing Monopoly, then that may be true, right? The goal there is for there to be one winner. But that's not the reality of life. That's not the reality in business or in life, right? It's not that there's not just one winner, right? I talk about this all the time with our um, uh, I was thinking about then this has been going on for a while. So we have the fountains and we have Cielo Vista Mall, right? This is El Paso specific. So if you don't you don't live here, you may not know. But the fountains was where the fountains are now is an old jeans manufacturing business, right? Which closed down, sat all this land next to the freeway just sat there empty. Not generating any income, not generating any real tax uh, income or any real taxes for the city or anything like that. And so then this company comes in, they say, well, we want to develop this. We want to develop this land. We want to turn it into a shopping center, and it's right across the street. It's right across the street from a well-established mall, right? Big mall. And in order for us to develop this land, we're going to come in. We're going to tear down all these buildings. We're going to clean it up. We're going to do all of that and rebuild them all. But we want some tax incentives, right? And so the mall fought that, right? They said, well, why? Well, you're going to give these guys tax incentives. It's going to cost them less. They're going to take away our businesses, right? Businesses in the mall. They're going to renew. They're going to draw them over to the new shopping center. And what they really weren't thinking about was the fact that the competition is good, right? That the competition of the fountains forces Cielo Vista Mall to be better, right? Now, when they did the development, part of the deal was they had to bring in a certain number of businesses that weren't already in El Paso, which didn't mean that that some businesses couldn't come from other places here in town, but they had to bring in a certain amount of business that didn't already exist in the city. And so anyway, when you go back to the competition, that the fountains, the shopping center, the fountains forces the mall to be better, because if the fountains wasn't there, then then the mall didn't keep up with their maintenance, right? They had deferred maintenance that the shopkeepers, stores weren't in the best condition. Maybe the plumbing doesn't work, their bathrooms don't work, whatever. Big parking, could be big potholes in the parking lot and stuff like that. And if there was no place else to go, people would continue to come there. But because of the fountains, because of this competition right across the street, the Cielo Vista Mall is forced to maintain their building in a better way. They're forced to maintain their parking lot in a better way, because if they don't, then absolutely business will go away. Right? Competition in any industry is good for the consumer. It forces you to be better. Right? If you want to stay at the same level, or if you want to, take yourself to a different level, that competition forces it. Otherwise, you go out of business. Right? So, competition is a good thing. Right? It keeps you on your toes. Right? It's not a matter of if I win, you lose. Right? That's not what it's about. We travel in different circles. We're going to have different clients, different customers. Big players in the world, doesn't matter what industry, don't think in terms of restrictions, like if there's a winner there has to be a loser. They think without limits, right? That allows them to go higher, right? That allows them to go higher. The fact that Warren Buffett is successful, if somebody else is successful, that doesn't limit Warren Buffett's success, and vice versa, right? The fact that that Google existed didn't stop Facebook from coming on the scene, right? The fact that Microsoft, the fact that Microsoft was dominant in the computer industry didn't stop Steve Jobs from getting better, right? Creating the iPod and iPhones and iPads, right? The fact that there's sometimes a temporary shortage in something does limit things and drive prices up on some things, but it also creates new opportunities, right? You think about that. I'm just going to use the real estate industry again. We have a shortage of houses. That leads to opportunities for new construction companies, right? If there's 5 companies in town doing all the building, then could there be 5 more? If there was a shortage of, if there's a shortage of houses because the builders couldn't build fast enough, could you go out and create a new builder, a new building company? Absolutely, you could, right? So shortages kind of get overrated, right? How often do you hear people talking about shortages, right? How often do you hear somebody say there's not enough time in the day, right? There aren't any good jobs, or nobody is hiring, right? He says, think about, even if there's a 20% unemployment rate, that means 80% of the people have jobs, right? He tells a story. He says he lives in a neighborhood next to a movie star, right? There's a Hollywood star, an actor, makes lots of money. And he said that there's a road, a road in their neighborhood that the city just can't seem to, it's always full of potholes and stuff. And somebody who lives on the same street said that the movie star should pay to fix the road, right? Because he makes this much money, right? Well, Grant Cardone says, well, maybe the other people should be paying to fix the potholes, because having the movie star there increases the value of their homes, right? So just because this actor has created success for himself, that he should foot the bill for fixing the street, right? And that's what Grant Cardone said, is that the rest of us should pay to improve the road for him, since he improves the value of the neighborhood, right? So there's no shortage, right? There is no shortage that can't be fixed, right? I mean, obviously we have some finite resources, but shortages are primarily manufactured notions. A company or organization that can convince you that there's a limited amount of something can produce a sense of urgency and inspire people to support their cause, right? You've got to get out of this mindset that there's that you're restricted in any way. That if I go out there, and get the listing, that you cannot, right? You have to shift your thinking to see that if I go out and get the listing, what does that mean? That means that you could do it too, right? So other people's achievements actually create an opportunity for you to win as well, right? Success for anybody, any group or any individual is ultimately a positive contribution to all people and all groups, and provides validation of the possibilities that are available to everybody. What do you think about that, right? When you see somebody that is successful, do you envy their success, or do you go, you know what, I could do that? I tell people when I first got into real estate, right? I was like, I didn't know what I was going to do, right? When I got out of the Army, and we bought our first house, and our realtor, our realtor wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. And I said, well, you know what? If she can do this, I bet I could do this too, right? So how do you look at stuff, right? If somebody is successful, do you look at it and go, well, you know what? If they could do this, I could do it too. I could learn, right? Is there anything that you can't? Is there anything that you can't learn? There isn't, right? It may take you longer. It may take you longer to get successful at it, to get good at it, but there's nothing that you can't learn. There's nothing. If I can do it, if I can do something, you could do it too, right? If I could do something, you could do it too. It doesn't make any difference whether the success is new technology, a medical breakthrough, a higher score, faster time, new record price for a business. Whether you participated in that or not, those achievements are confirmation that it's possible. That success is not in shortage. It's entirely possible for anybody. This is the moment, he says, when you must discipline your thinking to equate any success with the possibility of more success. And then you just have to move back to your commitment that success is your ethical duty, right? Success is your duty, is your obligation, your duty, your obligation, and your responsibility. Or is it duty, responsibility, obligation? So one of those, all of those, right? Success is your duty, your obligation, and your responsibility, right? Nobody's responsible for your success other than you, right? You know, Larry Winget, right? Larry Winget says, whether you're successful or a failure, it's your fault. Right? Either way, right? All right, that's it for today, right? Monday morning, great opportunity, right, to start the day with a little bit of positive reinforcement, positive motivation. So this is the Millionaire Mindset Book Club. We will see you tomorrow morning right here. Same bat time, same bat channel, Millionaire Mindset Book Club. Get out there. Make today the best day of your life so far. See you tomorrow.